our world is so interconnected that all SDGs are relevant somehow to businesses.
So Anton, maybe you'd like to start by talking about what are Sustainable Development Goals and how are they relevant to the private sector?
Yes, so the Sustainable Development Goals represent, I would say, the agenda for the world community that were adopted within the United Nations last year with objectives to reach by 2030. And they cover the three dimensions of sustainable development, economic, social, and environmental. I would say that the first target is to influence governments, of course, but the SDGs are also relevant for the private sector, which is new compared to the Millennium Development Goals that we had previously. I think companies have see opportunities in sustainable development. A group of companies even published a business manifesto for the SDGs in 2014. And yeah, from the point of view of companies, of businesses, sustainable development and the SDGs in particular can be seen as a new generation of corporate social responsibility principles, in the sense that the SDGs go beyond compliance and do no harm and really have a positive approach. They show to companies what they can do to improving the state of the world through the way they operate and with their products and services, for example, for financial inclusion or access to medicines or sustainable packaging.
So are all Sustainable Development Goals relevant to the private sector?
Yes, I think in principles, absolutely, all the SDGs are relevant to the private sector. Companies, of course, can contribute to decent work and economic growth, but they can also act regarding other goals dealing with education, health, hunger, energy, climate, etc. And I think our world is so interconnected that all SDGs are relevant somehow to businesses. We can think of the water, food and energy nexus, for example, to illustrate that. Then some companies try to have an integrated approach to address all SDGs, while other companies prefer to focus on specific SDGs where they see they can have the biggest impact. For example, Coca-Cola is working a lot on water and sanitation, and Tesco is very active on responsible production and consumption. And if we look at this interactive website that allows to navigate thousands of positive and negative news published online, here we have the retail sector. So if we filter with the waste topic, we see that UK supermarkets pledge to cut waste. And if I filter again with donations and grants, we see that Tesco commits to redistributing all food waste to charities by the end of next year.
And it's definitely a very clear way to see who's doing what and where they're doing it as well.
Right, yeah.
So are there notable differences in industries and which companies contribute more than others?
Yes, there are differences. And here we see that also among SDGs themselves, there are differences in the way companies behave about them or operate about them. On this chart, the size of bars represent the volume of information gathered regarding 3,400 companies during this year, from January to early July 2016. And the positive news items are in green and the negative criticisms are in red. So here we see that cities and communities, consumption and decent work these are the SDGs that gather the biggest volume of information. And now if we also consider the ratio of positive news over total news, we see that partnerships, education, these have the better score, the highest score.
Great. Well, Antoine, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your insights.
Thank you.
That's all from myself and Anton, but if you did like this interview, do like and comment on dukascopy.tv.